The purpose of the Global CFO Council is to provide an educational and networking forum for senior financial executives in order to share best practices, discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their jobs.
Tim Hess, good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Great. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I'm super excited to get to do this. It's a pleasure to get to virtually meet you, and thank you very much for agreeing to do this Meet a Member video.
No problem.
Tim Hess is the CFO at Aztec Omega Group in Dallas, Texas. I think you got your BA in accounting from Tarleton State and an MBA from the University of Dallas. And I have no idea what this is, but you're also a CCIFP. What is that, Tim?
Certified Construction Industry Professional. So it's a designation kind of like the CPA, but specifically for the construction industry.
Very cool. Well, I'm excited to get to talk to you, and let's get right into this. Tim, what is your favorite business book and why?
Most recently, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. So about, I guess, a year and a half ago, we were, a part of this group that, they have required reading, I guess. So one of my homework assignments was to read this book, and I actually I found it very, it was a very good book. It helped with leadership and managing our team. It goes through your trust, conflict resolution, commitment issues, accountability. And then, most of the time people don't pay attention to the results. You go through a whole process, you get something done, and then you just kind of forget it and say, okay, I completed it. But, this taught us to actually pay attention to your results once you actually had them, and to implement those processes and results that we came through. So it was a pretty good professional book. I normally don't do a ton of business professional reading other than, I usually stick to podcasts and some other easier, lighter things that I can listen to on my way into work. But, if I do sit down for a book, some of that series is actually a pretty good series.
Yeah, I love that book. I think that was Patrick Lencioni. Is that right?
Yes.
Who's the author of that? Yeah. Well, great book. Way to start strong. How about the best business advice that you have ever received?
Well, one of my every year takeaways from my reviews with my both CFO and direct boss was always delegation. I was terrible at it. I have always been terrible at it my entire career. And we had a CFO that came in he was ultimately my mentor when I was at Balfour. And he always used to say that we need to delegate and trust our people. Because you want to be an expert at everything, but it's impossible to be an expert and know everything. So it's better to have a bunch of experts at individual items, so then you can be an expert at everything because you have people under you who are experts. So I've been working on delegation basically my entire career. I'm still probably terrible at it because a lot of times you just say, I can just do this better myself, but usually you can't. So that's one advice that I've gotten that I've kind of stuck with is that always try and delegate. And if you can't trust your people, then really what's the point? So it's been a good one.
Amen. That is hard, but it is a worthy cause to pursue and get better at. So good job. Let me know how that goes, Tim. I need some improvement in that area too. Question number 3. How about a new tool or new website tool, something that you have found that's beneficial?
Yeah, well, it's actually a major tool. So we actually implemented a whole new system at my company because like most construction companies, we were with what's called Sage 300 CRE, which every mid-sized construction company has been on, and they probably haven't updated the system in 15 plus years, maybe longer. So we decided to switch to a new tool, CMIC. So it essentially automates most of our functions. It's allowed our teammates to, grow within their positions. I've been able to move around and create some new positions because of it. And, we were able to retain our people during the pandemic because of this, because, it kept us busy. It allowed me to move people around to do other functions. So it's been a really good tool. Now, I'd say it was the bane of my existence for about a year. It took about that long or plus to implement. It is very, very complex. But we're finally through the weeds and we're working through it, and we gained some new team members as a part of it too, as you do with most systems. So It's been a really good tool. The people are yelling at me less and less, which is nice. But people are starting to see that, hey, this does actually help me. I wasn't just trying to be a mean CFO and say, hey, you're going to use this new system because I feel like it. But that's been very helpful for us, and I think the people are actually starting to enjoy the system.
Well, that's fantastic. Rolling out a new tool, especially a system that's enterprise wide, can be a huge headache. So you're doing great to still have an amazing head of hair. It must have gone very well.
It's getting grayer. I can say that. I don't think it will go anywhere, but it will get much, much more gray. So,
Speaking of that job, Tim, what's the best part of your current job?
well, kind of with that. So I do have a lot of flexibility. So our owner we have a good trust system. So he kind of lets me kind of do what I want to within reason, I'll say. But I do get to pursue a lot of the, processes and items that I've learned over the years being from, I came from much larger GC, a very large corporation. I mean, Balfour was a multi-billion-dollar company when I was there. So I was able to take a lot of things that I saw good and bad from there and implement it into our mid-sized company because we're only, 100 million or so, nothing compared to that. But we're able to take some of those big company ideas with a smaller company adaptability and kind of really run with some of these things. So we've implemented a ton of new processes, procedures, profit centers, really everything you can do, especially with the way the last 2 years have been. Especially in construction, we're fighting for margins. We're fighting to keep our people employed, and we didn't let anybody go too as part of the pandemic. So we've actually been increasing salaries because that's the lovely market we're in right now. And so we've been doing a lot of these extra things to try and allow us to stay competitive, retain our people, and keep our profit margins where we want to. And I've had a lot of flexibility. I know it's way outside of his comfort zone, but banking and all these other things, and he just kind of let me run with it, which has been really enjoyable over the last, because I've only been here 2.5 years, and I've really been able to do a lot while I've been here.
Tim, what is something personal that you wouldn't mind sharing about yourself with the rest of the CFO Council members?
Yeah, so I'm actually a mentor for the Prisoner Entrepreneurship Program. So I actually began it when I did my MBA at University of Dallas. We had a really good head of entrepreneurship or head of small business management professor there. His name's Dr. Waters. He was great. I'm sure he's retired since then. But he really got us involved in that. We used to go to prisons. We had mentors, mentorships. I had a mentee. I helped get him out of, the attrition rate is terrible. Probably 90% of them go back to prison. So when they got into this program, they got out and they stayed out. So that was a really good program. I mean, I still occasionally talk to my old mentee, and now I have new mentees as well, in various states because, they get out of Texas and they go where they're comfortable. So, we've it's been really good. It's it's a good satisfaction to see that they actually progress. The original guy, he went into IT consulting services, which was great. Now actually he owns a gym, which I never would have thought, but I mean that's a pretty cool deal. And we helped him write a business plan, and he used it to his advantage, and he's still out of prison, so that's great. And then my most recent one, we helped him start a 501(c) nonprofit business where he's helping disenfranchised youth in his local hometown too. So that's been, it's really good to see them out working. We did form some profit centers too for him so he can actually make a living too while doing this. But his main passion was to help the youth in his area so they didn't fall into the same struggles he did. And so that's been really good. So I've really enjoyed that program over the years.
That's fantastic. And what a great program. Recidivism is really difficult and a challenge everywhere. And many people that have made a mistake and found themselves in jail, they have many of the skills that make a great entrepreneur: marketing and sales and hustle. They might have just been doing something illegal with it. And you can harness and hone those skills into something legal. They could be very successful. And that's a win-win for the community. So well done.
Yes.
I like it.
Thank you.
Tim, last question is I'm turning the script here, is what is something that I should have asked you, but I didn't? And then what is your answer to that?
I keep honing in on the last 2 years because it's unlike anything that any of us have ever seen. So, one of the takeaways is, what should leaders be doing, or what have we learned over the last 2 years? And my answer would be that you need to be able to adapt quickly. You can't hang yourself up on your old ways, and I've always done it this way, and it's always worked this way, because nothing is like what we've seen, and nothing works anymore. So I don't care what way you've done it, though, this entire time, nothing that I used to do works anymore. The labor market's changed, and the environment's changed, and really everything that you have to do. And so if you can't adapt, really you're a dinosaur, and you can't move forward. And even just trying to compete right now, because in Dallas, in construction, I mean, every major GC is here, so we have to compete with them. We have to compete with this, the great, I forget the name of it because I try and ignore it, but everybody basically just left their job and went to do something else. I mean, we had people go out of construction and other industries because why not? That's just how it goes right now. And so to try and retain all of these people, hire new people, compete with other people, I mean, nothing that I used to do, or none of the processes, or none of the benefits that we had are good enough anymore. So everything had to change. And so that's something that we continually do. I have to continually do research, which is why I don't get to read books too often, because more often than not, I'm researching what are the market trends, or what are the labor trends, or talking to my recruiter friends, or talking to, other people at other GCs on, what are you seeing? What are the struggles that we're starting to run into too? Because, construction boomed this last year. It's still up, but I see a dip coming, unfortunately, because it is higher than it's ever been, plus a labor shortage, which we've never seen like this. So it's just, it's a crazy world. And I mean, like I said, if you can't change fast, you really can't keep up with the way things change right now. I mean, we get a new variant every day. I got to try and keep up with that now too, on how to keep our people safe, and what are our new processes, and CDC changes every day. So what do we do? And so it's a little stressful trying to keep up with just running a business and trying to deal with all the outside influences. It's just gotten a little crazy lately, but I think that if you're good and you, like I said, rely on your people too, you can usually get through it. It's a little difficult from what I'm seeing.
What a great call to action. And I couldn't agree more that we are in a new season, a new period of life. And what a great way to put it, Tim, that we've got to adapt and overcome. And I saw a theme there with your book and the quote and the system implementation. You certainly are a change agent and open to new things. So it was great getting to talk to you. I learned a lot, and I appreciate it very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.